Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to the first of many God Wars reports. This is, for those of you playing in the God Wars campaign, the play-by-post game. This is the report. This one is done in a more narrative style. Later on, I will either continue with this fashion or give you a more soup to nuts, cut and dried field report if you prefer. Those of you in the God Wars, let me know what you prefer. So here goes. The beginning of the third God Wars. The great creator god Amar set the world of Maiar in place along with its many moons countless millennia ago. When one of his first creations, the great adversary, decided to usurp his throne and reign, Amar began the creation of lesser beings to populate his many worlds throughout the cosmos. Thus, the first and second God Wars erupted throughout the cosmos. Elves and the reptilians were the first of his new creations, followed by the Wind-Zed, often called the Winged Folk, and often mistaken for angels, while the great adversary created the abominations of the undead and the giants, the insectoids and the hobgoblins. Then Amar created the humans, dwarves, hobbits, and gnomes, while the great adversary uplifted the Azkatsian, lupine, and the ratkin. Now the great adversary and many other godlings have come forth once again to proclaim their dominion over the world of Maiar. Once again, war will rage throughout the solar system, and gods will battle over the right to rule over the world of Maiar as its supreme deity. First came the elves. Xantar, Lord of the Eternal Light, set his place of power atop the mountains that ringed his great castle and the elven city below. His prophet Zidane rallied his people to multiply and fill the valleys with multitude after multitude. And a great hero was chosen to defend the people in the temple with a mighty army. Xantar's cousin, goddess of the wood elves and goddess of life, placed her place of power amongst the most sacred of trees within the shade of the morning's first light. Nearby she had her multitude erect a great city and castle for her most trusted warriors and a splendid temple for her prophet Dorelia. Tamia, the elven goddess of the sea elves, laid their place of power deep, deep beneath the waves, guarded by a great and wise serpent to protect her meager city and temple, while her multitude and army explored the deepest depths of the undersea world of the Middle Sea. Aradan, the Dark Avenger, still brooded in the east after the sundering of the elves a millennia ago, had left his people hungry for revenge. So he commanded his people to dig deep beneath the mountain city, deep beneath the jet city of woe, releasing an ancient dragon, Terax, as his personal war steed, as his great army prepared for war. Dracor, the reptilian god of wisdom, set his place of power far below the sacred first city of his people. Near the first temple and within the first temple, his people prayed for guidance as they could feel the mystic currents turning toward a war that would soon engulf the entire world. Uxmol, the shade of the sinking plain, too felt the changing of the winds of chance and prepared his people of the vexatious swamp. From atop his mighty place of power, a wondrous steeped pyramid, he commanded his people to begin building ships of war and a great army to prepare for war as the war was sure to come. Prepare for the war that was sure to come. Sorry, guys. Eliath, Lord of Light and supreme deity of his winged children, gathered his winged folk to raise an army to defend their mighty city in the mountains, while the prophet Norea guided the people with verses from the ancient tomes of prehistoric knowledge. The great adversary brought forth the Harvester, a lord of death, while living now an undead demigod, to wreak havoc across the face of Maiar. The Harvester, too, raised minions as great undead generals to lead the armies of the unalive to the shores of the living. Iza, goddess of the soulless, returned from beyond the veil to drain the souls of the living and channel the tormented into her own private army and fleet of soulless sailors and monsters to her dinner table while she dined within the grand temple in the city of the damned beneath the icy snow of the frozen north. The adversary seemed to love the frozen southern realm as he raised giants to claim these lands as his own. Sundar, demigod of the evil giants, placed his place of power, named the gates to the god feast deep within his realm, near the great city of the giants and temple of the giant shepherd, where his armies gathered for conquest. Brutus, lord of the mountains, set his place of power deep within the fiery volcano, near the city of iron and the temple of chains, guarded by a ferocious beast, seemingly made from fiery metal and hatred of all things living. Teng Fei, the Crimson Crucible, and lord of the southwestern hobgoblins lands, in defense of his mighty castle and the city of his people, while the fire and brimstone rose high into the air as the hobgoblins readied themselves for war with an army and war feet alike. Ratham Rex, the hobgoblin god of war and dark magics, ordered his minions to assemble great armies as the mountains surrounded their palace of power, and the great city and temple and tower of war wizard beneath the turmoil that hung thick in the southeastern air. Illustrandia, the secret stealer, goddess of the spiders, roamed the world in the dark places of the icy north, as her minions offered up sacrifice after sacrifice upon her blood-stained altar. As her power grew, so did the multitude and army under Spinar, her prophet of the webs. Click-clack Bibbeloop, siren of the abyss, twisted beneath the waves, swimming with her people in a frantic dance of creation. City and grand temples surrounded by enormous coral reefs rose from the oceanic floor as great leviathans circled her like a living wall of fins, scales, and fangs. Tempestus, the deep devourer and bringer of nightmares, stalked the southern sea as his followers brought him great offerings of rare and mighty beast slaves to guard the deep, dark realm of his people's undersea city and temple. Not all the creations of the great adversary lusted for death and revenge. In fact, many rebelled against his machinations, as he too rebelled against his own creator, the great god Amar. Two such rebel factions were the Mothmen of Timar and Vermark. Timar, lord of the eastern Mothmen, having been keeping his people very busy, their hive cities have united into a mighty kingdom, complete with temples and tower for the most learned among them, while their forge billowed smoke high into the heavens. On the central continent, Vermont touched down and created his place of power in a strategic place by the sea. Soon his cities flourished, and then small castles began to dot the land. The Mothmen soon had a mountain stronghold nested betwixt a ring of mountains to rival the area of even the Wind's Edge. Then came the humans. Athanatos, lord of Ionia and god of fortitude, raised a hardy people from the salts of the earth. His place of power was a thing of beauty beneath the tall pines of the frozen north near the city Iona, and guarded well by the Lord's castle, temple, and army of renown. Everon the Balanced counseled his people well. They all had heard the rumors of war stirring in the east, south, and west of their great northern realm. The city of Concord and the city of Aberon had provisioned themselves for any storm in the shade of the citadel of Thought, Averon's place of power. The army and forge of Averon's people would be kept quite busy under the ever-watchful eye of the great general Villancourt. Eshmon, the river god and god of prosperity, promised his people of Galarta he would lead them out of the darkness and into a time of prosperity, for their noble capital and the surrounding lands blessed by the mighty rivers that fed the people and the temple of their god. In the heart of the human lands there began a strange whispering of a secret cult. A new god was coming, a god of death and assassins, a god able to penetrate any enclave of any race and end anyone regardless of their mortal or immortal status. Lord Curzah, the Hearth Father and his people's steadfast leader in preparation, led his people in their preparations for almost anything, priding themselves on their well-stocked larders deep beneath their mountain house homes, far beneath the surface world, and their well-armed and armored dwarven army. Gromdar of the Golden Horde and cousin to Lord Curzah, too dwells within the mountains that sprang forth from their deific will. However, his people seek not the joys of good food and better company, but the silent glitter of gold, silver, and precious gemstones. Their city and castle walls bristle with the shine of well-polished arms and armor, ever vigilant of would-be thieves and assassins sent to rob them of their own ill-gotten goods. The city of Gromdar is set high upon Mount Tam, complete with high-walled castle and forge that billows smoke into the sky 24 hours a day. Lord Hillfeather, god of the halflings, placed his sacred place of power deep in the hills of his country, surrounded by city walls and armies of loyal, happy halflings, who spend much of their time in reverent prayer in their large temple atop the highest hill in all the land. Marsala, the giant and god of the gnomes, kept his people busy all hours of the day in the twin cities and the temple and the great forge, tinkering away in new ways of creating new devices that would not only ensure their safety as a people, but usher them and a new era on the world of Maya, an era where science and sorcery would become one, and all-pervasive science would rule the world with the people of Marsala at its apex. Arcanon, the defender of the pack, looked on from his place of power of the multitudes of worshippers and his armies. His people would be safe for a while. His temple and city and castle would protect them for now, but war was in the air. He could smell it, and it reeked of death and treachery. As the great god of his people, the Azkatsi, looked out over the Pride Lands and out to the sea where his war fleet moored, awaiting orders of conquest, the homelands appeared to be safe from incursion by his neighbors, and his people needed more room to grow, to expand, and yes, his generals and priests all agreed to hunt again. Deep below the surface of all the lands, there came a strange new sound. A strange new musical sound reverberated. The piper and goddess of the Ratkin began to weave her notes of discord from her place of power, leading the hordes of her people to power and victory over the surface dwellers of Maya. There you have it, folks. Sorry for the stumbling, but 3 pages I had to read with tiny little print that I could not expand. So if you guys enjoyed that, let me know. If you'd rather it be a more cut and dried format, let me know. If you'd rather just read it for yourself in Discord, it's already there. It's been there for about 24 hours. And you guys were all supposed to have this stuff to me last Friday, and here it is, almost Thursday, tomorrow being Thursday, and the day after being Friday. I know it's short notice to give me your second turn of orders, but I would appreciate it so that we can keep back on schedule where I get the orders for your empire on Friday, giving me as much of the weekend to work on it, and then release it on Mondays. That would be best for me, but a couple of you were busy with real life stuff, so I get that. And I did finally get everybody in time for this now, so good on you guys. I hope you're enjoying it so far. From the looks of things, just about everybody's got plans within plans within plans, and I'm loving it, loving every minute of it. Even the little guy is thoroughly, finally into something that his old man is doing. He said he wanted to do something like this for a very long time. So, proud Papa, real happy. And I'm real proud of you guys. You guys did a wonderful job of coming up with a lot of surprises, things I did not expect, questions I have yet to answer, but I appreciate those as well for the game. The 15, 16 of you that are participating, best of luck. May the best strategist, commander-in-chief, whatever you want to call yourselves, win. I will be doing a video later on talking about the top 3 prizes for the war, first, second, and third, and then of course there is the prize for the first person to complete or excavate a 10-level dungeon within your empire. That's a separate prize unto itself and will be awarded much sooner than the first, second, and third place winners of the game. I'm also going to come up with the criteria for winning first, second, and third place, not just stomping everybody out of existence, because that's probably not feasible, because there will always be people who survive and carry on the religions later on in my game world. But I really appreciate this. This has already, believe it or not, helped massively in the creation and filling in the history and the backstory of my current AD&D game that's been running for almost cruising up on a year and a half, I want to say. I think May or June will be a year and a half every Sunday. And to you guys, hats off, cheers, love you guys. That's what I got for you. This has run a little longer than I expected, and I got things to do. Get back to the map and all that. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you guys real soon, and as always, happy trails.